So, in news, the Mississippi. Oh yeah, this was interesting.
Hang on.
The Mississippi.
Do you want to start off with a welcome?
Oh yeah, welcome, gang. It's nice to have you. Enjoy the croissants. Enjoy the salmon on bagels.
All right, that'll do, I
Where's
suppose.
mine like?
Yeah.
You don't
Little
get
do we
one.
know, the reason his mic's not working is because he's forgot his actual mic and he's actually sitting in a banquet hall.
Are you guys not here? No, thank you, Ramon. I shall. Anyway, if you wanted to join us, that's great. If you're coming in and visiting us, that's great. It's great to have everybody in the world join us. Welcome to the Alternative Review, your new favorite source for news and stuff that isn't news. So, in the news these past few weeks, because we've been a little late, the Mississippi court in America rules that business owners won't be forced to service gay weddings. The three-judge panel ruled in favor of a law that protects people who oppose gay marriage on religious grounds when sued. So that's great news from Mississippi. And so in other news, the Supreme Court in America, a lot in America to begin with, but the Supreme Court in America voted that hate speech was not a thing and that all forms of speech are protected by free speech. It was also a bad week for abortion, American abortion. So we've had rumors about the new Obamacare repeal draft, and they contain language signalizing the partial defunding of Planned Parenthood.
Get in.
Which was great. And on top of that, European Council, now we're getting away from that. Oh no, yeah. European Council leader guy, Donald Tusk, said that the latest Brexit deal regarding foreign nationals living in the UK was below expectation. And Angela Merkel was looking very sad when she said there hadn't been a breakthrough. Labour have released a little slip of the tongue, and they've revealed their plan to wipe out 100 billion UK pounds of student debt, which has stirred up a bit of controversy.
Wow.
Trump and Putin finally meet face-to-face at the G20 summit for the first time. And the Iraqi army celebrated a defeat of the ISIS stronghold of Mosul this week. And finally, to top everything off, the oldest inscription ever was found containing the oldest current documented language, and it was Hebrew.
Yes.
So, let's first begin somewhere completely different. But I wanted us to think about this week. What I wanted to think about was political outrage and violence, right? And division. So have you guys heard about Johnny Depp this week?
No.
No.
Oh, really? That's funny. So, Johnny Depp, when he was at Glastonbury, like a week or so ago, he made a joke about assassinating Donald Trump, right?
Okay.
He was at a movie show in his
How
latest
original,
movie.
I might add.
know, right? So what he literally said was, I think he needs help, and there are a lot of wonderful dark places he could go. He acknowledged that his comments would be in the press, so he knew this was going to be in the news and it was be controversial. And then he began to discuss, this is seriously a showing of a film, he began to discuss assassinations of past presidents before stating, when was the last time an actor killed a president, obviously referring to John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Abraham Lincoln. And that doesn't really work as well because Abraham Lincoln was a really loved guy, a loved president. Depp went one step further and said that he's not an actor, he lies for a living, and it's been a while, but maybe it's time, as in maybe it's time to assassinate the president. Depp has since apologized for his statements and said they were in poor taste and did not come out as intended. So what do you guys think about this?
Poor taste might be a little bit of an understatement, I think.
Yeah.
Poor taste. I mean, he should have learned from the last lass who tried to do this. She got ruined for it.
Are you talking about Kathy Griffin?
That's the one.
Yeah, that was a total disaster.
Yeah, I just think there's a few things. People think that because they've got money and they're famous actors that their opinions are more important than everyone else's,
It's true.
which isn't true. And people still haven't grasped the idea that it's not okay to threaten to murder people because you disagree with them. Even if you think Donald Trump's a tool, and there have been people that have said less bad things that have been put in prison, and like
That's true.
that have been banned from America and things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. There were. Do you guys remember Donald Trump actually overturned the law allowing them to do this, which is a good thing. But do you remember in America there was a law that if you spoke, basically, if you said that homosexuality or Islam are morally wrong, the IRS could demand that you give them transcripts of every single sermon that you've preached in like the last 10 years or something
Wow.
ridiculous.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
So what?
But
That's
you know,
been overturned, has it?
Yeah, it's been overturned now. Thank
Good.
God. But Johnny Depp is a public figure, but he is entitled to free speech, I guess. He's protected, so he's allowed to make these sorts of comments as long as he doesn't incite violence. But by any stretch of the imagination, this is getting pretty close.
Well,
You know what I mean?
it is inciting violence, isn't it?
Do you think so?
Saying that someone needs to find their help in a deep dark place, and then talking about like assassination. That is, he's basically saying the guy needs to be assassinated.
Yeah, that's
It's not
true.
on, like. It's not on.
But what I wanted to see your guys' opinion on was so this kind of rhetoric is being thrown around, and it's I think the political rhetoric that you see now is worse than ever. Like you said about the Kathy Griffin thing, like posting a picture of her holding up a decapitated head in a really reminiscent of ISIS picture.
Yeah.
It was just way too far. There was also there was a drummer. Have you heard the story about the production of Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, in the New York Shakespeare in the Park? And in that play, obviously, Julius Caesar dies. He's assassinated, but they decided to depict Julius Caesar as Donald Trump, and Melania was obviously depicted as Caesar's wife. And on top of that, don't forget, Madonna at the Women's March in America said she had taken into serious consideration blowing up the White House. So my question is this fun or is it just too far? What do you think?
Too far, isn't it?
I think it's too far.
It's too far. I mean, can you imagine if anyone said this when Obama was in? It would have been immediate, complete, like, outcast.
I remember reading an article about a teenager that sent like a salty letter. I think it was in the UK. A teenager sent a salty letter to Obama, saying stuff about like I think it might have been death threats or something like that. But he was subsequently banned from the US.
Right.
And it was just like some random teenage guy, not a celebrity, not a public figure.
No, celebrities doing it in front of loads of people, and loads of people are cheering and everything.
Yeah, and everyone, like, I don't know, it's weird that people think it's okay.
Yeah. Well, as well, I mean, you need to remember that. Now, I'm semi kind of agreeing, semi kind of disagreeing with you guys. But one thing I will say is that we have definitely seen a rise in, how would you describe it? Just like political violence, right? So you had this Republican congressman. Do you remember the story about Congressman Scalise getting shot at a baseball game? Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, you guys have. This is interesting. So this guy was a Bernie bro, as in a hardcore Bernie Sanders supporters. This was last week. And he walked onto a game. The first thing he does is he turns to somebody and he says, "Is this the Republican ball game?" And then he just starts opening fire on these Republican congressmen. One guy's still in very critical condition, Scalise. But he was inspired by this political rhetoric now. And he obviously thinks Republicans are, I mean, I don't know, from a biblical perspective, they would be literally demons deliberately trying to work against the world to destroy it and everything. But this is the logical conclusion of a lot of this rhetoric. People need to be careful, especially when you have people like CNN, and the sort of things they get away with saying is insane.
The thing is with these celebrities, right, is like people they go on as if it's a joke and everything. But for the likes of Madonna, when she's standing up there talking about how she might potentially blow up the White House, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no setup and punchline to us saying that, right? But everyone laughs and cheers.
Yeah.
And the reason people like it's not because it's a joke, setup, punchline. It's because they agree with their opinion, which is scary.
Yeah. Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, and no one thinks about the amount of people that have died in America from people wanting to blow each other up and like.
That's true.
You know, I surely you would have thought it's quite insensitive, really.
Yes.
You know, especially recently, the amount of things that are going on because of politics and because of, people with conflicting worldviews and stuff trying to blow each other up.
Yeah.
And then you're walking around thinking it's funny to say that you want to blow someone up because you disagree with them as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that as well that is partly due to the fact that we have not taught kids how to think anymore. You know what I mean? Like we have taught tolerance now, and I've started reading a book about it, very good book by Josh and Sean McDowell. But we've started tolerance has become this like altar, this god to us, and now we teach kids not to think critically because we basically tell them if you disagree
You've got to
with
accept
somebody,
it,
like the last generation disagreement was. I don't agree with you. I don't think it's morally right, but I won't enforce my beliefs on you,
Yeah.
and I will respect you enough to let you have it.
I've got this
Now-
opinion and I need
Yeah.
to prove it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And now, tolerance is if you don't say what I do is equally as morally right as what you do, then you hate me and are intolerant. Which again is just a fallacy of itself. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it was C.S. Lewis who was talking about how you don't have to tolerate the things that you agree with.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, actually, yeah.
Tolerance
Yeah.
only makes sense if you disagree with a person.
Yeah, that's true. And I think there's definitely a money element to this as well. Like the more ridiculous something somebody says, the more people are attracted to it, the more clicks they get on the internet, the more far right or left or extreme that your opinion is, the more attention it's going to get. There's definitely a money element to this as well with a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's people who make full careers, they call themselves provocateurs, don't they?
Yeah.
Like some Milo Yiannopoulos, like as much as I kind of like the things that he says, I understand that for a lot of the things that he says, he might not even hold those opinions.
But so, freedom of speech, okay, is something that I believe strongly in, but I will admit you can't find biblically you can't find an amazing backing for it because it's not something that I can think of anyway where the Bible talks about freedom of speech. What do you guys think? It's one of the single biggest indicator of a healthy society is ones that don't tell people not to say things. And yet it's kind of, I would say, I can't think of a single element part of scripture that talks about it.
Well, I mean, throughout the Bible, there's an element of you can't force someone to believe something. You know, it's not genuine if you force someone to believe something. And I think that's heavily related to it because after all, your speech, the things that you say, it's a representation of the things that you believe, and you just believe what you believe. Some people suppress what they believe or try and change what they believe of their own accord based on how popular it's going to make them. But I think there's an element of that. Like you should be able to say what you believe. I think.
One thing, I think blasphemy would obviously be the first thing I would look at in the question of whether free speech is a thing, biblically, right? And I think it can that can open the window into the role of the government at all. Because I don't think that blasphemy should be enforced by the government. I think the point of the government is safety. And as in physical safety, right? So arresting people like murderers, rapists, people who assault other people who are actually trying to, and thieves and things like that, order and security within a population. I don't think blasphemy isn't one of those. I mean, it's a crime against God, but I don't think it should be a crime against the government because it's not the government's job.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like this thing we were talking about the guy that's been sentenced to death for blaspheming on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's like I would have thought, this Allah guy, he sounds like he's probably powerful enough to deal with it himself if someone says bad about him.
Exactly. This is what I was
Do you know
going to
what I
say.
mean?
Like,
And my God says vengeance is mine.
mm,
He can deal with that himself, and it's not my job. My job is to just
judgment,
disagree and openly disagree with stuff like that.
judgment of
Yeah.
like the crimes that are against God is down to George to enact them, and he will.
Mm.
And I think the role of government is to protect people, and I think freedom of speech is a way that it protects more than it, hurts. Well, it does. It protects people. It's a
The more people are allowed to share their opinions and debate their opinions, the more progression you have in terms of ideas.
yeah,
The more ideas become sound logically
exactly.
and morally. So
Philosophy expands massively.
yeah,
You
and
can,
that's
without
demonstrated throughout
disagreement.
history as well.
Yeah,
And
without
the thing-
disagreement, how can anything become more robust if no one attacks it?
It's an interesting thing you said, Jake, about the government's role being to protect people. I think if you looked at the role of the government in the UK now, and it massively overreaches that goal in particular. And I think it's become not about protecting people, but it's become almost about controlling them. Well,
I 100% agree.
if I want to go far enough, I would say government is trying to make itself God in Western society right now, and I have a problem with that. Government is trying to make itself run every aspect of our lives, and I was wondering what you guys thought about that. Like, where do you stand? Are you guys big government or small government? Where do you stand? What do you think is better?
Small government, absolutely.
Small government. What about you, Ollie?
When you say big government, what, like in terms of like a government on a federal basis, or like what do you mean?
So, a small government basically means the government will have as little power as possible over your life, right? So that's sort of like leaning conservative, or and the extreme of that would be like anarchy. So it would be that there is no government, or the free market as well. There is no government because people will naturally govern themselves, and you don't need the government to tell them what to do. And that's kind of like the extreme form of small government.
I mean, small government sounds nice, but it seems to me that with the government having less power over your life, they've also got less obligation to look after you as well. So I mean, there's pros and cons to both. I would say though, at the moment, our government, obviously, from a moral standpoint, should feel a big obligation to look after us with that, with the amount of control they've got and the amount of responsibility. But I'm not sure they see it the same way. So
what about in terms of healthcare as well?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think it's the government's role to provide universal free healthcare for everybody in society, or do you think it should be left to the free market?
Well, I don't see how it can be done. If we want free healthcare, I don't see how that can be done through anywhere else but the government, because the money's got to come from somewhere, and it's the government that get all the taxes.
No. Sorry, I mean, do you think that free healthcare is what's better for this country?
Yes, yeah. It's the best thing about living in this country.
Do you think? Okay. What about
in
you,
my
Jake?
opinion?
I don't know. I really don't know about this one.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is because it's such a huge expense. That's the only thing.
It's worth it.
That's everything.
It's the problem is when people talk about how much money we lose from the NHS, they're looking at it from a business perspective, and it's the purpose of the NHS isn't a business purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not there to make money. It's there to look after people. We should be making a loss at the NHS.
I think you're right.
That's sort of fair
to a degree, but I mean, it's also problematic in that I kind of had a similar conversation about climate change about this today, but in church. But basically, I agree with you. But one thing that is problematic is if you look at America, right? So America obviously famously had a very rigidly strict private healthcare system for many years until Obamacare. And in America, they obviously have the best healthcare system in the world. Their healthcare system literally is, statistically, if you get cancer, the best thing for you to do is move to the US, because statistically you're far more likely to survive it if you live in the US rather than any other country in the world. Their healthcare is just better, but we also
You've
had
got
a
to pay for
huge
it, though.
problem. Yeah, that's the problem. We had a huge issue. I don't know if you remember, with people having to sell their houses, becoming homeless just to pay for healthcare was a real problem back then as well. And now we see you have Obamacare, and for the first time in many, many years in America, life expectancy has dropped directly because of what free healthcare has done. Because if you look at our country, even NHS waiting times are a total disaster in many ways. Like I'm booking an appointment tomorrow for something, and I know that that is going to be like a month before they see me for something that's not serious. Do you know what I mean? And that's a problem, I think. But is that worth it for free healthcare, for it being totally free? I would say yeah, definitely. But it's a problem that will only get worse unless we can improve it somehow.
I mean, the thing I think is, like, you'll see all the rich people, all the well-off people griping about it. You know, they're the ones that will complain about free healthcare. But at the end of the day, long waiting time's better than not having anywhere to go when you get sick.
That's
the long
true.
wait times thing, I don't get. Like, why wouldn't the wait times be the same in private healthcare?
Because there isn't.
Other than the potentiality that people can't afford it, and then that's a bad thing.
Yeah. As well, so in private healthcare, it's different because of the fact that, like with the UK specifically, and using the NHS, there's just so many people using it, more people than ever before. Mostly older people, because you have, you have the baby boomers, and when in the next 10 years, they are going to be a huge stress on the healthcare system as they start to get really old. They start to use it more and more, and then you have a problem with young people are in the hospital, are in the doctors, every single week because they read something online or they read this, and the person's just wrote this article literally to try and make money, to write something that makes you click it, right? And then the response to that is the fact that we have doctors' hospitals that are just filled with people. Doctors' surgeries can't afford to fit everybody in, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's different in private because you're paying money, which less people are using that service, so then there are less people waiting to use it. And because you're paying, they have more money with which to hire more doctors to care for you personally. Private healthcare is just better, but obviously the cost is ridiculous. Absolutely insane. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I really don't know. I just haven't looked into this issue enough, and it's always the thing where like whenever I watch talks by people like Ben Shapiro and stuff, it's always the thing where I'm just like, I just don't know if I can agree with them because I just cannot really move my mind up about that.
It's tough. It is tough. Like, if you look at Canada's got one of the worst healthcare systems in the world, and that's totally free. Then Canada, they have things like death panels, don't they? Where if you find out you've got stage 4 cancer, they will literally have a meeting to decide whether it's worth treating you or not.
Wow.
Which sucks.
That's pretty awful, actually. I never even thought about that eventuality.
Yeah. We do have to be careful, but, is Jeremy Corbyn too far? Is Theresa May not enough? We can't know these things. In a perfect world, I think it would be the healthcare was next to free, so that it was still competitive, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember, technically, our healthcare isn't free.
Yeah,
we do pay for it. So I would say it is next to free, as it is.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, gang. Let's move on now. So something happened crazy. So, have you heard of somebody called Jeremy Corbyn?
Right.
Corbyn.
I thought that was going to be like a genuine question there.
Have you heard of somebody called Jeremy Corbyn and Theresa
May?
May?
Yes.
You have heard of them?
No.
Okay. No. Well, this is very interesting. So, Corbyn, this is the first time this has ever happened. Sorry, Corbyn. This is the first time that this has ever happened on a YouGov poll. But Corbyn has overtaken Theresa May by 1 point for the first time ever. So he is now more popular than Theresa May, currently. What do
That's
you guys
weird.
think about that?
Like right after the election.
I know, weird, isn't it?
That is so strange. I want to have a conversation with the people who change their minds.
Yeah, I bet. Do you guys think maybe the DUP had something to do with it? I don't know.
I've met very few
potentially.
people that have actually changed their minds on these things. Like
Yeah.
most people I know have always had the same sorts of opinions. So it is weird that so many people seem to change their minds. It's like, yeah, I'd love to know who it is.
Probably is the DUP thing.
Hmm.
Like James, our mutual friends James and Matthew, were kind of ripping into the DUP a little bit while I was there, and I mean they're, well actually no, not Matthew. Matthew is more Labour side, but James is very conservative.
Really?
And yeah, but he was ripping into the DUP quite a lot. So I can see, of all things, I think the entrance of the DUP into the, the full
spectrum.
Yeah, the full scale is the thing that would be to switch people off.
Right. So when you said about how it's surprising, this is what's really surprising. So the election has been, obviously, but this means Theresa May since the election has dropped by 10% popularity, and Jeremy Corbyn has also dropped, but just not as much. Isn't that quite bizarre? Quite weird.
Sorry, say again.
So Theresa May has dropped by 10 points. She had 45. Jeremy Corbyn, I think, had 42, and now he's dropped to dropped to 35. She's dropped to 34. So sorry, she's dropped by 11 points. So they've both dropped in popularity. But
that's crazy.
You know what I reckon that's down to?
Go on.
I think that's just down to less political interest straight after the election. No one's now bothered. Now the election's happened.
Now that is very interesting.
They don't have an excuse to make themselves look more intelligent than they are anymore, because the election's already happened.
When you say it's points, it's percentage, right? But is it percentage of the population, or is it percentage share of those who have voiced their interest?
Of those who have voted, it'll be.
Yeah, it is.
But obviously,
right.
so say people were just like not bothered anymore, but obviously it was all the young people were into the Jeremy Corbyn thing. Yeah. Maybe a lot more passionate in general about the whole election. All the old people were just voting for the sake of it because they've always voted the same party for years. Yeah. So after the election, lots of people aren't so bothered anymore. But the people that were actually passionate about it are still perhaps doing these polls and things like that. So overall you're going to have less. But Jeremy Corbyn perhaps still has more of those people that are actually sticking around in politics, maybe.
Well, he made a speech at Glastonbury, didn't he? Which was quite interesting.
Really?
Did you not see that?
No.
Basically, it was before. Was it the Kaiser Chiefs? I think it was the Kaiser Chiefs. Before the Kaiser Chiefs went on, Jeremy Corbyn came out and did a 20-minute speech to the crowd.
20 minutes?
Yeah, all the Guardian and Independent hyper-liberal newspapers commented there was a thunderous applause, everybody loved it. Which, I thought you would expect with a younger crowd. But I read one thing that was really, really interesting. It was like some guy who was there, and he basically said, why are Glastonbury trying to force their political views on me, basically?
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. And he said there wasn't a thunderous round of applause. Like, people did clap, but people clapped when he described it as people clapped when the Kaiser Chiefs came to save them.
Right.
And that made me think, because at first I was like, oh, that's really clever. And then I was like, actually, why is Glastonbury doing that?
And why do the newspapers all feel like they need to tell us, that people were really, interested,
Yeah. But did you see, he did do one thing that did make me laugh. And like I said, I'm not a Jeremy Corbyn fan by any stretch of the imagination. I did vote for the guy, but I did not like the fact that he did. But have you heard of the Theresa May Fields of Wheat thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was good, like.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear about it?
No, I don't. What was it?
So Theresa May, somebody asked Theresa May in an interview before the election, what is the naughtiest thing you've ever done? And then she said, oh, well, when I was a child, me and my friend would run through the farmers' fields of wheat, and we would find that very enjoyable, but we probably shouldn't have done it. Like that. and obviously this erupted into a ton of memes and things. Like one video was one video I saw was a picture of, do you remember when there was that funny video of her laughing like crazy, like
Yeah.
she has that really, and then underneath it said, when you run through a field of wheat and don't get caught by the farmers, and all of this. But somebody asked Jeremy Corbyn, have you ever ran through a field of wheat? And he said, no, because it's incredibly irresponsible. Because
Wow.
I know for that running through a field of wheat causes damage to the crop. And then he said, I can't imagine the mentality of somebody who would do such an evil thing.
What on earth?
Which made me laugh quite a bit.
That's mental. You know, when someone's like, again, it's like you can see how fake it is in moments like that.
Yeah.
She obviously wants to answer the question, but she's got to maintain this squeaky clean image.
Yeah.
Can't actually be a human being in front of people for like, you know.
Yeah.
I think she came off a little bit Hillary Clinton-y, like she was some robot.
Yeah, like
that-
fake. That's exactly what I mean. You're suddenly, it just shows that you're an actor. You're not actually, you know. Yeah, it's
like if you saw a clip of her in a coffee shop talking to some guy, you would think there was a spaceship above and they dropped this robot in to test human interaction and stuff.
Yeah, you can't hear them, but what they're actually saying is act natural. We're being watched right now.
Yeah.
Laugh at what I'm about to say so they think we're having a good old human joke.
Yeah.
All of these monkey fools have got no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you think about it, Labour are quite good at that, aren't they? They're quite good at having incredibly charismatic candidates that everybody's excited about, who then just disappoint everybody eventually. And I'm waiting to see if that happens to old Jeremy. And Conservatives are quite good at having.
Did you see
incredibly
Gordon
awkward-
Brown?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Gordon Brown is different.
He disappointed everyone and wasn't charismatic.
Yeah. He was a
He kind
letdown,
of looks
him.
like my dad, you know, Gordon Brown.
Oh, really?
What's that?
Yeah, he kind of looks like my dad.
Really?
Very weird, yeah. I think he does anyway. Nobody else does.
Just so he doesn't. Basically.
What if you had my eyes, friend?
If you look like someone, normally most people can agree that you look like them.
Yeah.
If there's debate, you probably don't look that much like them.
Yeah. but I mean, like, so you had Tony Blair, right? Who was incredibly charismatic guy. He won in a landslide victory, but he turned out to just totally screw everyone over. And he ended up, now he's on something like $100 million a year salary because he works in the Middle East and just crazy stuff like that. He's also got some of the lowest approval
He
ratings
advises
of
like dictators, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, just totally ridiculous stuff.
That's
And
mental,
actually,
lad.
Ed
didn't
Miliband
know.
was, Ed Miliband is a very, very unlikable candidate as well. On top of that, I think,
Unlikable or likable.
and totally unlikable. Wasn't there a picture of him recently where he was on a motorbike and he had a leather jacket and he was holding a Cornish pasty or something like that?
No way.
Thing about him is, it's not so much about likability. It's just he's very difficult to have respect for.
Yeah,
I think.
Ponce.
I agree. Oh yeah, no, that was it. It was Ed Miliband stood with on a motorbike with a leather jacket, and he was holding a bacon sandwich in his hand. That was it. Oh man, it doesn't look good.
I'm not surprised.
Just very, very weird. Actually, I'll send it to you guys, and you can tell me what you think. Let me just get it up now. Oh my days. There we are. So politicians are very good at looking awkward. Like Barack Obama, again, obviously leaning left, very, very charismatic guy, but again, caused a lot of problems. It just shows that you need, like my church pastor would say, you need the 3 C's. You need character, charisma, and a third C.
No.
Which I forgot.
Is that real?
Yeah, it's real, man.
Oh my goodness me. Miller Bacon.
Have you linked it?
It's in the Facebook group.
Oh gosh, you make me work for these things.
That is next level.
Is it cringe?
Top quality, mate. It's unreal.
Oh, what? Millibacon. Is it like shopped or something, or what? What?
No, that's really him. He actually sat down for a photo shoot, and they were like, "Do you want to do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, go on."
No way. Oh my gosh.
Totally ridiculous, isn't it?
What's his hand do? Like, look at the hand on his leg.
He's double jointed, that geezer.
Yeah, man. He's doing the splits. That's
Dude.
right.
Dude, this guy is clearly an alien. He's forgot to put his fake hand on. That is a claw.
Yeah, man. I can't even tell. Like, what
He's
finger is
resting a
that?
claw on his leg.
That's actually a claw. What the hell? Like, that's not his thumb.
He's a distant relative of Zoidberg.
That's horrible. Right. I think we should move on from Ed Miliband.
Yeah. Now, here's something where we're gonna go somewhere a little bizarre now, right?
All right.
Bear with me, okay? Have you guys heard of somebody called Princess Diana?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in a conversation with somebody at the food bank, and this is not the first time this has happened. My mum and everybody in Ukraine apparently is a firm believer that Princess Diana was assassinated by the Queen, right?
Mm.
A firm believer.
There's a lot of evidence for it in there.
Oh my days! Are you being serious, young man?
I mean, I'm no expert, but I thought there was quite a lot of
I'm
quite a lot
a
of.
Princess Diana assassination expert. You can ask me anything.
Was she
But-
assassinated? That's
To
gonna
be
be
fair,
the number one question. Like.
That sentence is probably on more CVs than you think it is, mate.
I hope so.
I wish.
Granted, more CVs than you think it is could be like literally 4, but
That
I'm gonna put it on
is
my
more
next one.
CVs than I think it is for sure. But she gave me basically. I don't know if you've read, but this guy is like 93. He's on his deathbed in hospital, and he has come out and he has said, "I was a secret service agent working for the Queen, and I was given the task of killing Princess Diana." Right? And he came out and he had this huge thing.
Mm.
Nobody knows if the facts collaborate or anything like that. But this got me thinking about crazy conspiracy. But actually, first of all, what's your guys' take on this? Right? Are you a believer in the Diana conspiracy? Would our lovely Queen do this? Do you think?
I'm just thinking, like, didn't the Queen recently set up a Twitter page?
No.
No way.
Yeah,
she
she
did, I didn't
did.
get there.
She got a Twitter page like maybe a couple of months ago. So I want to see her sort of defense to the whole situation on her Twitter page.
Do you think she's going to defend herself? Do you?
I hope she
Yeah.
posts selfies.
She's gonna be like, "Look, this geezer is absolutely off it, mate. Don't listen to him."
This geezer is off his rocker.
Oh, guys, I found her. Right.
It's verified,
Guess-
right?
I think
No, she's
when
not.
you're going somewhere with this whole Princess Diana thing.
Yeah. So I can't believe the Queen had a Twitter page. Guess what her Twitter
Mate, I
handle is?
found a Steam account.
Yeah.
What's it?
Oh,
what's
she's
She's
it
a
not
right
really.
little troll.
Oh, it's fake.
It's fake.
Ah, I thought that was a real Twitter account. Oh,
Oh.
man.
What an
Heartbroken,
absolute
man.
loser.
There
Why
is
would
an
you-
actual Queen's Twitter account, I'm
I
sure.
can't find it. I know she set up a Facebook page,
That could be what I'm thinking of.
but she doesn't post anything good on her Facebook page. But anyway, yeah, sorry about the distraction. Do you guys believe this is true or not? That Princess Diana was killed by the Queen in order to cover up the fact that she was pregnant by some Muslim man.
Oh, was that the supposed reason?
Supposedly, and the fact that she apparently
It was
going
that
public-
millionaire. She was like going off for weekends at a time with that millionaire geezer on the yacht, and she was photographed with him.
Yeah.
Like she was basically having an affair with the guy. There's the Queen's Twitter page.
You found it? No
yeah.
way.
That's royal family.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was
wow.
articles about her first tweet and stuff like that.
That's crazy. What was
It
the
went
first
something
tweet?
along the lines of, that geezer that was talking about my assassination attempt is a nutter.
You.
He's just mad because I wrecked him on FIFA.
I don't think that would ever happen.
Mad because he's bad, I believe she said.
CS:GO legend Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you guys aren't buying it, no? Oh, you're in the middle somewhere. You're not
I've
sure.
got no idea. I just haven't looked.
I'm
at
not
it.
sure. I think it's perfectly possible given the situation. Like,
I mean, I've got a. My verdict is that I don't think it happened. Always verdict is leaning yes, but not
you
sure.
can't be too keen to abandon the tinfoil hat. That's all I'm saying. because it might just be true, and just because it's mental doesn't mean it's not true. You know.
Now that leads us perfectly on.
You can quote me on that.
I will.
Right,
Don't you worry. Are ready for this? This then got me thinking about just absolutely nutty conspiracy theories, right?
Right.
And I compiled a little list. Now, I want to get your take on this, right? So, first theory. This is a bit ridiculous. There's a theory that Louis Tomlinson, right, had, you know, from what's it called? One Direction. One Direction. Louis Tomlinson from One Direction
All
had
right.
a baby in January 2016, but is keeping it from the fans, right? And at first I was like, who cares? And then I looked into this. I'm not joking when I say there is some next level, right? People obsessed with this. There are people who literally, their living rooms and newspaper articles and photos that are trying to connect him to the idea that he had a baby in January 2016.
Right.
Isn't that just mental?
What on earth?
People lead boring lives. That's why. That's all it is. People haven't got enough time, enough. They've got too much time and not enough things to do with it.
Why? What would it be? What would be his motivation for that? Do you think? Just the fact that, like, in this day and age, in a post-truth era,
It might not
why
want
would
the
anybody
press
care?
or something like that. I don't know.
But I would say that would be great for him. Negative press is good press, isn't it? At the end of the day.
I mean, even if it's true, like that he did that, who cares?
Yeah, but some people do. That's the ridiculous thing. Second one. Now, tell me about this. Tell me what you think about this. And this is very personal and close to me.
Right.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What's your
Oh
take?
mate,
Listen,
I've been resisting that Facebook page that you've invited me to, man. All I get on my Facebook is Adam Butterworth invited you to this group, and then it's almost like I'm in the group just because you invited me to it. They show me all the posts on there anyway. I'm not sure why I haven't just joined it, and it's just all of these flat earthers just talking nonsense, man.
Do you know what? One sec. I'll be right back. I'm just going to do a flat Earth thing. One sec.
Look,
And
here's the fact of the
yeah.
matter, right? When they lay down train tracks over long distances, they don't curve the train tracks. They can do flat, and they stay perfectly in line with the ground. Hence, flat Earth. There you go.
Right, I'm back.
I hope you're not being serious, fam.
No, I'm not being serious, mate.
What's going on?
I'm just. This is all the stuff that they come up with.
Yeah.
Like Adam, I was just pointing out very good evidence.
The famous one's that B.O.B. guy, isn't it? And I remember he put on Facebook a picture of him on a big hill, and he could see two different cities from the big hill, and he was like, you know, I rest my case. Like, sorry.
There's Paris, and there's New York. If it was that,
he's
I
one
might
of
be
the.
okay.
Okay, fair enough. You got a point. But flat Earth is something that is very close to my heart, gang.
Right.
I was part of a flat Earth society. Okay.
Were you actually?
No, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Okay.
Let me get it out.
Right.
I joined it for journalistic purposes,
Mm-hmm.
and I came to realize that they were right. No, not true. I joined it for journalistic purposes, partly because I just wanted to see what these people actually believe, and then after a while, I really became kind of concerned for these people, purely because they basically acquainted flat Earth with salvation, probably unintentionally, but they were like, if you're not a flat Earther, then you're not a true Christian in their eyes. Some of them weren't, but some of them were.
The Facebook page is called Flat Earthers in Christ.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Oh no.
And they would post stuff trying to prove flat Earth, being like, I'm sure people are going to be here to ridicule us on this, as though it's like the same as like when you expect ridicule and almost you feel a sense of honor in ridicule when you preach the gospel to someone. They almost seem to feel a sense of honor in ridicule when they try and tell everyone the earth is flat. But it's like, it's got nothing to do with Jesus, whether it's true or not.
There was one guy in particular who posted a video of him while he was in New York Central Station, and he was handing out leaflets and he was telling people, like, do you want to know the truth, blah, 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 blah. Most people are ignoring him. And people commenting underneath, like, oh, you're so brave, you're so brave. And I just commented, like, imagine if you use that time to talk to them about Jesus instead of a flat earth. It really broke my heart, these guys. And I was desperately trying to comment stuff. And I was desperately, like, I was posting memes, I was responding to their comments and stuff like that, but they did not want to listen at all. It was really tough. And in the end, I had to leave. I was getting too worked up. But, like, one thing I did figure out is, like you just said, Ollie, they feel validated by people confronting them and making fun of them about it. It's like the gay pride movement. Whenever a Christian goes on about gay being a sin and they would say like gays burn in hell and stuff, they feel that validates them, that they become victimized, that the whole world is against them. And it was the same with these guys. No matter what you said to them, they felt validated.
And it's because obviously it's not the fault of Scripture, but there is a sense of like, I mean, I've always gotten a sense of it, like if you're persecuted for the things that you believe in terms of being a Christian, it's a good sign that you're on the right track to a degree.
But Jesus says all about it on the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah, but I think people then think that, like, rather than that persecution being a byproduct of being on the right track, they think that to be on the right track, you've got to make yourself persecuted.
Yeah.
And they'll, that's like, and yeah, I think it's sad that someone who identifies as a Christian thinks that they need some other sense of fulfillment, some other sense of validation. Than just the fact that they're a Christian and that they believe in Jesus. Like, why do you again, like something that I think about when I see things like this that I've probably spoken about on the podcast as well. It's like what Ravi says. Ravi Zacharias talks about how a worldview's got to fulfill questions of origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. What bearing does it have on your morality? What bearing does it have on your origin? What bearing does it have on your destiny? What meaning does it have on anything, whether it's true or not?
Yeah. Well, I asked them partly that question. I asked them, so why does it even matter if the earth is flat? If it has no point in Scripture, why does it matter if the earth is flat or round? What difference does it make? And the response I would generally get was, well, the earth being round is a doctrine of the devil, therefore it points people away from God.
The Bible says the earth is round.
I know. It's really, really odd. Really odd. That's why I invited you, because I was like, I can't believe it. And I also partly wanted to joke and make you think that I believed it.
Of course.
Because I thought that would be funny. But it is, as well, we make fun of them so much. Everybody does, you know what I mean? And in reality, they need people reaching out to them, but it's so hard when they're so hard. Like, the ears are not open to that. You know what I mean?
I find it just as tragic as someone that's sort of stuck in homosexuality, or someone that is stuck in alcoholism. Do you know what I mean? It's the same sort of thing. Everyone's searching for something, searching for some sort of fulfillment.
Yeah. That's another thing as well. Now, this is something I want to get your take on. This is kind of about all conspiracy theories in general, but obviously for the earth to be flat, that would require a global conspiracy, Every single world leader would have to be hiding it, choosing to hide it. And every time I ask them
airline company, well, yeah, I mean, there's so many companies that would have to be behind it.
And every time I asked why, what do people gain from this? They always say money. And I was like, who is making money out of
Yeah,
this?
you fooled me. You got all my money from me thinking the world is round.
Exactly. It doesn't the only thing I could think that it would make sense is if the Earth was round, theoretically it should be cheaper to get plane tickets.
Yeah,
Kind of
or if the government like charged us some sort of round world tax. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
That
We're
would
gonna-
be insane.
We're gonna tax you on living on our round surfaced
world
planet.
tax.
Yeah,
And I would tell them, okay, what happens when you get to the corner? What happens when you get to the corner of the Earth? And they would just tell me they won't. Seriously, this was the response I got the most was so there's huge government conspiracy people who are somehow gaining money out of this. They said they won't let you get to the corners of the Earth. And that would be their response. So it's not even an answer. It's just they won't let you get to the corners of the Earth.
it's a problem in there. It's such a problem, man.
What happens when
Yeah.
the government gets to the edge of the earth? Then what?
Yeah.
What happens to them?
But I recommend you guys doing it just for a bit to see what goes on.
It's like there's a mentality of like almost being trapped about
Mm.
that. Do you know what I mean? You're trapped in something. I
Yeah,
think
I was
there's
thinking
some deep seated psychology involved in that.
Well, as well, I think there's some sort of psychology thing about
You're
the
trapped
fact
in
that
your
they
own world.
think, yeah, and everybody's against them. That's the other thing. You know what I mean?
I was
Something
suppose all
about
of the
that.
people who've travelled like around the world on a boat in a week.
Yeah,
They must
they
all just be
probably
government agents like.
they probably
Yeah,
weren't
must be.
engaging too much in your conversation because they thought you were a spy, Adam.
Yeah. Well, I think because I was very respectful, they kind of tolerated me
Hmm.
and didn't kick me out. But there was one time. This was when I decided I was going to leave. Right. I sat down. I found the longest flight in the world that you can get, and I can't remember exactly where it's from, but I remember it was to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And I figured out that only 4 planes can go there currently, and they can only carry so much fuel. Because the Earth is round, they can make that journey, right? If the Earth was not round, that journey would be impossible with the amount of fuel that these planes would burn. And that took me, I'm not joking, hours, right? And then I took this to them and I was like, look, what about this? And then they just didn't care. They were like, nah, no, lie, like laughing and stuff underneath. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to get out of this now. I've had enough. Totally bizarre people. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. So, there is a professor of Egyptology called Nadir Al-Sam Mud who believes and teaches that dinosaurs were tamed and trained to carry equipment to help build the pyramids.
Right?
What are you thinking? Think
What?
there's a bit of truth in that?
What evidence does he have to substantiate that?
Well, he doesn't have a lot, right? But I think the crux of his argument is it would be impossible by human methods to build the pyramids. And then one thing that is true is that we do have a lot of problem with dating dinosaurs and things like that. Like we do have early cave paintings of dinosaurs, which obviously doesn't make any sense. How can you have a cave painting of a dinosaur if humans never existed at the same time as dinosaurs? And anyway, he has all these different things, and then he accumulated that to mean dinosaurs built the pyramids.
Okay, I mean.
I think
feasible.
even with dinosaurs, I think you'd have a bit of a job doing it. Like, and I think you'd have a bit of a job taming dinosaurs.
Yeah, how do you
I
domesticate a dinosaur?
I can't help but be skeptical of
I mean,
that
there
for
is-
some reason.
There is carvings of like, what are they called? Brontosauruses? Brontosauruses that are like, sort of lying down with people. I don't think it would be out of the question to say you could tame a dinosaur the same way you could tame any other animal.
Mm.
You know?
Mm.
Perhaps.
Plus, I mean, brontosaurs are definitely big enough to carry a few rocks around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you could tame them, I could see it being pretty sick. That.
So he gets this theory from a number of stone palettes, like stone carving, which he dates. Well, he doesn't date. Sorry, I dated back to 3,500 BC, which depict beastly creatures of enormous size that look almost serpent-like. Almost, I won't go as far as say that they do look serpent-like. And then his quote is, I understand that our present view of human history is completely different from what we are proposing, but based on these ancient papyri, we must consider the possibility that dinosaurs have lived amongst the ancient Egyptians and were possibly tamed to carry huge blocks that compose the pyramids. What are you thinking?
I'm 100% sure that humans and dinosaurs live together. It's just, I'm just so sure of it. Like, there's a
That is interesting.
ridiculous amount of evidence to say that they walk together.
There's
That's
a lot
insane.
There's a lot of drawings, and the thing is, as well, back then,
There's a warehouse full of carvings of them. It's insane.
yeah, back then, like when you look at ancient artwork, as soon as we got onto like ancient figurative artwork rather than just like handprints on walls and things,
Yeah.
people didn't think conceptually.
Hmm.
You
So
mean,
if you're depicting something figurative, it would be because you've seen it.
Yeah.
Even depictions of like ancient mythology, it's all made up of things that are seen. You know, things will have wings of a bird or maybe of a bat. You know, it'll be like a person but with multiple arms. It's all things that you've seen. Whereas if you like, if it was something like, you know, you were seeing things that were almost Lovecraftian.
I was just going to say H.P. Lovecraft style.
Yeah, some of those things just simply don't exist, and they're not even close to existing. You know what I mean?
I see what you're getting at.
It's much more conceptual. It's like,
yeah. And I mean, yeah, you kind of make the argument that they just happen to make up creatures that look like this, and then all of a sudden we find, you know, we have the technology to understand what they actually look like.
Our sort of the way we build sort of fictitious creatures and things and characters is largely sort of standing on the shoulders of all the other people that have, you know, it's a development that's taken place over a long time. Most of like our ideas and the things that we do are the same. You know, it's a development. So I mean, ancient artwork wouldn't have been, you know, totally made up like that.
So that's interesting. You have a little bit convinced me now. I'm definitely closer to that than I was before. I'll have to think about that one. Next one. This one is really stupid.
I'm telling you right now to watch that Kent Hovind video that I'm going to link you, right? It's out of this world, mate, honestly. Continue.
I will watch it. I can't. I'm tweeting. We're talking about dinosaurs now. Okay, let's move on. This is a genuine one, and I'm not joking when I say this has a huge following, like Flat Earth does. I am not joking. There is a belief that Finland doesn't exist, that it's a secret, that Japan and Russia are collaborating and hiding from the world so that Japan can fish in the region of the ocean without worrying about the environmental repercussions.
What? They can fish.
And Russia gets a cut. Yep.
So what, like, the belief is that Finland, as a landmass, doesn't exist.
Yep.
So that Russia can fish where Finland is.
Yeah.
That's a mint.
And I'm guessing this conspiracy theory only sort of existed around the time where people started worrying about the environment, you know. So I mean, you know, people think this thing originates from way before people actually cared about the environment, like you know, because we've believed in Finland for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Someone on my course at uni was from Finland.
They're in on it.
Yeah.
They must be in on it.
Russian spies, mate.
Yeah.
That's
Bolsheviks.
ridiculous. That's basically debunked the whole thing. That somebody on your course was from Finland. That is literally, that's it.
Well, I think it's more of a problem that, like, you know, Finland's got a history. Finland took part in World War II. Like, Finnish people took part in World War II. Like, so we believed in Finland, right? Way before it would have ever been an issue for Japan to fish there.
You know what?
Like, from a political standpoint.
I mean, goodness me, have you seen the size of Finland?
It's a big place.
It's massive.
It's not even an island. So someone that lives near the border would have to be in on it as well.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you stood on the border of Sweden and just went, "Oh yeah, there's Finland,"
And do you know
surely-
what? If it has got a big following, right? I mean, the one thing that baffles me that I've just thought of, it's right. I'm just sitting in the shoes of someone that's like, I'm now on this camp of I don't believe in Finland. Finland is a myth, right?
Yeah.
Right. Here's my thought process, right? I'm gonna look online. Oh, tickets to go to Finland aren't that expensive, right? I'm gonna
Right.
buy a ticket to go to Finland, get a camera, and go to Finland to prove everyone that it's not there.
But what if it's actually like a part of Sweden or a nearby country?
Use
What
a
if it's-
GPS or something.
But
Use a map.
Well, no, isn't the point that it's just like it doesn't exist as a landmass? So if it's a part of
that is
Sweden,
actually
then
ocean.
right, yeah. So like you're just gonna
No,
you
but
can
what
watch
I mean
Sweden
is,
go by,
there is like
and then you're in
there's an-
Finland.
there's like a peninsula of Sweden, right, which has been sectioned off to look like Finland, so that anybody visiting will be convinced that Finland is real.
I would take a really, really long drive and wait until people speak a different language.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about the Finnish language?
Well, as well, one thing about this theory,
The Finnish language and the Finnish accent is like unique as well.
and also what doesn't make sense is the fact. Yeah, so this is the other thing. Somebody will have to invent an entire culture and history, and somebody would have to invent literally thousands of people and stuff in order for this. But the other thing as well, the fact that it's Japan and Russia that are hiding it from the world. We have a space station up there, and you can look at the Earth at any time. Anybody at any point, like it's not like the US have seen the world before. If they look down and saw, hang on, there's no Finland there. Don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's true. And like,
There's no Finland there. That would be amazing. That. I mean, what a discovery that would be.
yeah,
I know.
that would be a pretty crazy thing to discover.
Gosh.
What I want to know is how these things develop. Like, so if you discover some massive scandal, right? There's surely, I mean, as far as I can understand, there's got to be like a suspicion phase where you have your suspicions. When did someone think, based on my experiences so far, I'm getting slightly suspicious that Finland doesn't exist and that it's actually a conspiracy between Russia and Japan. I'm going to have to investigate this further.
Yeah.
How
It's
does that even start?
The transition between suspicion and absolute certainty is quite an
Yeah,
interesting one for something
Yeah,
as ludicrous
I
as
think
this.
someone woke up in the morning and thought, "I'm certain that Finland doesn't exist." I just think that just because.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
That's the only way I can see that developing. Someone's thinking, "Oh, I like conspiracy theories. Let me think of one."
Yeah.
my days.
Pretty much.
So we'll make this next one the last one. This one is. I'm going to start by saying, this is not a joke. Okay, this next one. This
Okay.
is not a joke. So this is real, and you can find very easy evidence about this. So Palestinian authorities, so literally people in charge of Palestine, right?
Mm.
They are adamant in their belief that Israel has been dumping packets and packets and packets of chewing gum, which has been altered so that it's an aphrodisiac,
Oh.
right, in Gaza to boost the sex drive and corrupt the youth.
Oh my gosh.
That is not a joke.
That is insane. I mean, what if they have though?
But why?
Yeah, well, why? That's
This
the
is
good
literally-
question.
And why
country.
chewing gum?
Yeah. I'm being deadly serious here.
Just get loads of
Why
oysters.
would you walk down the street? Why would you see chewing gum on the floor and go, do you know what?
Yeah, I'm having that.
That's exactly what I needed.
It doesn't make. And I'm not joking when I say this is literally the country that believes this. This is not a joke. How does that happen? And they've accused Israel of this multiple times.
Have Israel responded to the accusation?
I'm not too sure. I'd like to see that. No, Israel have not responded.
That's quite funny, actually. The fact that they're just totally silent, like they're on the way.
Would you like to,
Yeah.
would you like to hear
Unnatural.
a quote from the director of the Gaza drug control?
Oh gosh, yeah, sure.
He's called Abu El Walid El Dashan. He says,
Right.
"Here we see a special kind of chewing gum," and then he quotes, sex chewing gum.
No.
That's what we call.
No.
That's what
Is
we
he
call
actually-
it here in Palestine. The seductive picture on the cover. The gum itself is white. It was made abroad, but it's impossible to tell when exactly. It may be homemade. I'm 90% sure. This is a subversive product sent by our Israeli enemies.
I think it's an ad campaign. Some chewing gum company is like, what should we call it? What do we need to convince people that this is? Not just chewing gum. This is sex chewing gum.
Sex chewing gum.
Yeah, this
is-
chewing gum
yeah.
is sex.
I can't believe
I'm
that,
just
man.
imagining this sort of portly Arabic man, in some sort of authoritative uniform, just walking down the street and seeing chewing gum, just sort of, startled by its presence there on the road, just picks it up, sniffs it. I know what this smells like. This smells like sex chewing gum. I know what this is. We need a full-scale investigation.
It's so ridiculous.
Absolutely insane.
Do you want to hear as well why this is? Do you want to hear a reason why this is particularly ridiculous, right? So, this is a quote from the founder of the Israel peace movement, Uri Avni, and what he says is, every day. So this is about Arabs having sex. Every day, Israelis count exactly how many Jews and how many Arabs live between the Mediterranean and the Jordan. In just 6 years, Arabs will be the majority in the country of Israel. For Israelis, this chewing gum is not just a disaster or a catastrophe, it is a negation of everything they have done in this country for the last 120 years.
It's just mental.
Absolutely ridiculous. Are you guys ready to move on to Derp of the Week?
Oh yes, I totally forgot about this. I'm buzzing.
I'm reading my notes and I have no idea where I've written this. But first guy is called Eric Schneiderman. Okay?
Right.
Remember this name, Eric Schneiderman. Now what I've written here, which I don't understand why, is afterwards I put in brackets, the Jewish Spider-Man, question mark. That's no idea what that. And then, so I've got Eric Schneiderman, the Jewish Spider-Man, is asking a federal judge for an injunction. I can't remember who this guy is actually. I think he is. Oh yeah, he is the state's attorney. So he's like in charge of the police, basically, right, in New York. He's asking a federal judge for an injunction against pro-life protesters who harass patients. This is what he describes. Spew death threats at supporters and staff at an abortion clinic in Queens, New York. What he says they do is they use renal abuse, threats of violence, lies about the clinic's hours to keep patrons from receiving healthcare services. He also said the tactics used to harass and menace choices, patients, families, and volunteers and staff are not only horrifying, they're illegal.
Does he genuinely refer to abortion clinics as a healthcare service?
Yes, he did.
All right,
Reproductive healthcare service. Okay.
Oh, same. Yeah. Okay.
Now I've got a last quote from him here. He says, so this guy is literally trying to sue pro-lifers, right? And he's the leader of the police, so this would make me scared, right? And his reasoning is that they are being violent outside abortion hours, right? And he says the law guarantees women the right to control their own bodies and access the reproductive health care they need without obstruction. We'll do what it takes to protect those rights for women's accords in New York.
Sounds to me like the guy might have a sort of a political agenda there that perhaps he shouldn't.
It really bothers us how people will use absolutely any term except abortion. Like they'll say, like pregnancy healthcare. There's nothing healthy or caring about that. There's absolutely nothing. Healthcare has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I know whose health you're not caring for.
Yeah.
Now this is the other thing, right? So remember I said it was for their violent behavior. Now we only have two sources who say what they do, right? You tell me if this sounds like violent behavior, okay? So they have a quote from a protester: "Your money supports the clinic, so you're a murderer. Don't go in there. They will convince you to kill your baby. That's how they make money." Is that a violent thing to do? Shout that at somebody, do you think? From behind a
Nope.
barrier, by the way. They're always kept behind barriers.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Another thing, some patients who manage to make it past the protesters still have difficulty accessing care. Because they arrive at the clinic shaking and crying, patients in this traumatized condition require additional time and counseling by staff who must reassure the patients before
That it's okay to
addressing
kill their kids.
Yeah, basically. So that's another thing, that it slows
Don't-
these people
yeah.
down from
Don't
killing
be
their baby.
don't be dissuaded from killing your kids just because these people say it's a really awful thing to do. You know, here, come on, give us the money, and we'll kill your kid for you. No.
This is a quote from somebody called Letita James. She's a public advocate for abortion. "It is unconscionable," which I had to look at what that means. It means not right or reasonable. "But any person would be subject to harassment, threats, and even physical violence for simply seeking or providing medical care."
There's no care.
What
Yeah.
medical care?
Yeah, isn't that such a straw man argument? If
is.
you ever saw one.
It is, yeah.
It's a pure lack of understanding, man. It's just not understanding what it is people go there for.
Yeah.
And oh man, medical care.
So and as well, the huge fallacy in this. We've said this before. You being pro-abortion, any abortion argument is entirely reliant on the dehumanization of the baby.
Yeah.
No matter what, the baby has to not be a person in order for the argument to work, right? But I'm looking at all of this, and I was thinking to myself, like, none of this is as horrible as actually being killed before being born. You know what I mean? It's so backwards. And to think he's actually gonna get these people. A lot of these people are literally just old ladies and church groups and stuff. And to think he's gonna seek an injunction against them and have them prosecuted for violence is absolutely ridiculous.
He's probably been paid to do that.
I think so.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I obviously don't want to come out and say that, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Well, it does happen a lot.
Do we have any other contestants?
Yes, we do. So
Is Mr. Zuckerberg on there again?
no, he's not. So have you guys heard of Sarah Silverman?
Yeah, I know of her.
So she does she has a new Netflix promo.
Oh, great.
Okay. And the advert for the
Bill
promo...
Nye saves the world too. Sarah Silverman saves the world.
Oh man, Bill Nye should have been...
I just hate her whiny voice. She ruined School of Rock, in my opinion. Or came very close to ruining School of Rock.
Was she in School of Rock?
Yeah, I had no idea.
She was that guy's horrible girlfriend, wasn't she?
Oh, no way.
You know that pushover guy's like really awful girlfriend.
Right, yeah. I forgot about that.
I'm pretty sure that was Sarah Silverman, like.
Right. Anyway, yeah. Go on.
So she's done a promo. It's only like 2 minutes long.
Hey everyone, if you want to watch this promo from Sarah Silverman, the link is in the description, but be warned, there is bad language and some crude humour in there, so yeah. Anyway, back on with the show. Guess what I'll not be watching on Netflix?
Netflix has a really bad... almost all of their comedy specials are terrible. Really terrible.
So is that what it is? Is it a comedy special, or is it like it's
stand-up. It's a stand-up even.
Alright, okay. I was just... To be fair, that's more of a relief. I thought it was going to be like a big old TV show thing. Yeah.
But this is... do you remember Amy Schumer's? She did one called the Leather Special, and it literally
got slated.
Yeah, she did. It made Netflix completely rethink their rating algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. They changed it to the percentage system after...
Why? What was their thing?
She did a Leather Special, right? And it was massively promoted everywhere. and obviously, she's very popular amongst far left people and just atheists and progressives and stuff. And basically, she did this stand-up special, right? And now I've actually seen now there's a challenge where can you watch that the whole way through because it's just so bad. And all of the jokes are based around a vagina and stuff, and really just disgusting jokes and jokes actually stolen. And basically, Netflix made this huge big deal. They released it, and then it was totally panned to 1-star reviews, right? She then comes out and says the only reason it's a 1-star review is because a bunch of like racist
misogyny.
Yeah, basically. And she said they flooded the rating system, and then Netflix redid their whole rating system because of that.
Why does everyone from the left and like all these super liberal people act like they're fighting some uphill battle and they're like outnumbered? Do you know what I mean? They act like they're some like real noble sort of person for fighting against like masses of racists that they live around, sort of thing. Like,
but what do you think then about Sarah Silverman? What's your take on that? My first take is that it's not funny. There's nothing about that that's funny.
No.
I mean,
well, that's something that I notice as well about these things. When people try and attack God with, like, when comedians try and do it, they seem to sacrifice the comedy. Like, Sausage Party could have been such a funny film if it wasn't pushing like an atheist agenda.
Yeah.
And it like,
was it?
I mean, proper.
I never actually saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like the whole film was just about how we should stop sort of being religious, basically, and we should like
really?
Just do what we want and just have sex all the time and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's last time that ever happened in any society. It's ended in total disaster.
Yeah, like I mean, there was a Jewish piece of food and an Arabic piece of food throughout the whole film, and they have like this animosity between them, and by the end of it, like they end up having like gay sex and stuff like that.
Oh
and
my
like
god!
all sorts of mental stuff, and it was just really silly.
Sounds like that ice cream thing from Bill Nye.
Yeah,
It Saves the World.
Yeah, but like
ridiculous.
the thing that got me about it was that the characters and the setting and stuff could have been really good, but the comedy was sacrificed just for the fact that they were pushing an agenda. And maybe I'm biased because obviously I don't agree with the agenda, but like, I mean, I went and watched it with two people that aren't Christians, and I don't think they found it particularly funny either.
That's interesting. So do you think? I mean, I think when something gets too political, it stops being funny. You know, it's not about just jest anymore. It's about you hate something.
Well, there's an element of like comedy where comedy is almost, it's got to perhaps be critical or be a narrative of the real world in some way, or a lot of the time it does. Like a lot of comedy relies on that, but I don't know. I think when it becomes about telling people what to believe and stuff like that, and like when you suddenly think that you've got some moral basis as a comedian, you know, or like you're philosophically higher than, you know, you've got some sort of philosophical authority, like when it's plain to see from watching that film or from watching Sarah Silverman that she doesn't know anything about philosophy or morality. She's never really thought about it properly. She's thought about what she can get a cheap laugh out of.
She's became a feminist and become really popular about it, and now she's thought about everything else. She's thought about trying to appeal to a demographic rather than the actual argument, and like how she can actually have a strong argument. It's a demographic of shallow arguments. Yeah, she's almost accomplished her goal just by the argument that she's got, rather than the strength of it. Yeah. Because none of the people that are going to watch her for the agenda that she's pushing are actually going to look at the counter argument. Yeah, people are way too satisfied with very poor arguments these days. Well, it's shallow. I mean? There's an element of shallowness to the whole thing. You're satisfied with the first argument you hear, as long as it's the one that actually affirms what you already believe anyway and doesn't challenge you to change at all. Yeah.
Like that's all it is. People will hop from one argument to the next until they find one that doesn't mean they've got to change their life in any way.
It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable at all. This kind of, like teaching young people to think like that isn't going to work.
It's not conducive to learning, is it? You're never going to learn anything if you only ever choose to believe stuff that you already believe.
Yeah,
It's so funny as well because it's so many of the people that we're talking about identify as being atheists, and like that's such an atheist like line to say to follow the evidence where it leads, and so many atheists are just so unwilling to do that.
Yeah.
I think they use that line though out of hubris, out of cockiness, rather than out of fact. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's that?
You
Sorry.
should follow the evidence where it leads, but it's kind of having a go at any religious person saying that they don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's about I can't. It's a long quote, a really really good quote. But it basically ends in making the claim that basically new atheism is just an exercise, like a frivolous exercise in sort of intellectual contempt.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Ravi quotes him a bunch of times, doesn't he?
Yeah. Ravi loves the quote.
I can't remember the guy's name.
And as well, I think
I'm going to look for the quote now.
I think this is kind of as well. This is I saw a tweet today that really summed this up and where this is going. Like we need to like. So the tweet was basically it was a video. This guy stood up at an anti-Trump, anti-fascist rally in America, right? So these people were anti-Trump because they're anti-fascist. You know, called the Anti-Fascist League or something.
Yeah.
This guy stands up with a megaphone. He then, I'm not joking, does this speech, which is comprised 100% of Hitler quotes.
No way.
Right? And obviously because Hitler was a socialist. And then he replaced like some things, like he replaced Jews with Trump. And he replaced like a Germany with America. Right? And at the end, everybody's clapping and they're going up and congratulating him and stuff. Like, they have clearly not realized the reality that they have become the fascists.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, that, to be honest.
It's mental. Right, so this, so it was David Belinsky. Basically, when Richard Dawkins published, or had the God Delusion published, obviously loads of authors published books that were all called the Atheist Delusion, or this one's called the Devil's Delusion. So this guy's an agnostic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he is.
But he's a scientist, I think. So the quote is as follows: "Has anyone provided a proof of God's existence? Not even close. Has quantum cosmology explained the emergence of the universe or why it is here? Not even close. Have the sciences explained why our universe seems to be fine-tuned to allow for the existence of life? Not even close. Are physicists and biologists willing to believe in anything so long as it is not religious thought? Close enough. Has rationalism in moral thought provided us with an understanding of what is good and what is right and what is moral? Not close enough. Has secularism in the terrible 20th century been a force for good? Not even close to being close. Is there a narrow and oppressive orthodoxy of thought and opinion within the sciences? Close enough. Does anything in the sciences or in their philosophy justify the claim that religious belief is irrational? Not even in the ballpark. Is scientific atheism a frivolous exercise in intellectual contempt? Dead on.
Oh man, can you send me that quote? Quote. I'm going to post it on Facebook now.
Have you seen any panels or like interviews with Belinsky before?
No.
He's a really cool dude. Like, he's just so deadpan and everything. And people come at him with like really ridiculous accusations, and he's just like, "That's so dumb."
That's a scientist that can say, you know, I'm examining the facts on face value. Do you know what I mean? And taking them where they lead me. And I can respect someone coming to the conclusion at this point that he doesn't know, because at least he's honest, you know, about what he's saying. Do you know what I mean?
What's the guy's name again?
David Belinsky. I've just put it in.
Oh, I found it.
I just love the fact that it's a guy he's not a Christian, he's not an atheist saying it. You know, he's almost like a third party sort of intermediary.
That is a great example of following where the truth leads you, isn't it?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That is where you get to.
Yeah.
Carry on, sorry.
I was going to say that I kind of disagree, obviously, with the first point. Has anyone provided a proof of God's existence?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. I actually read it wrong. It's the start of it is has anyone provided a proof of God's inexistence?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah,
That's
not even close.
better.
So obviously you can't end it there though, because obviously no one's provided a proof of Barney the purple dinosaur's in existence either.
Yeah.
But it obviously not intended as a standalone statement, is it?
No.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
we never finished Derp of the Week.
Oh no, that's exactly right. Are you ready?
What are the options again?
So far, there's another one. Okay. So far, you've had Eric Schneiderman, the Jewish Spider-Man, who is seeking an injunction against pro-lifers for simply being pro-lifers.
Mm-hmm.
You have Sarah Silverman, who is being Sarah Silverman this week. And then your third one. Now, this is a bit interesting because the first one is some guy who's doing something that is morally questionable. The second one is somebody doing something that is morally questionable. And the first two are obviously, the first one is about morals. The second one is more just about like kind of about attacking God. The third one is about morals in a very different way. So the third contender is, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Comics, right?
Oh no.
What did you say?
So, oh no, I don't want them to be Derp of the Week. I like Marvel.
But here's the thing,
Yeah.
right? So, Marvel Comics, we kind of semi-covered this once. So Marvel Comics are performing terribly, right?
Right.
Because they've gone clearly far left. They have these huge diversity quotas. They have these very terrible characters. Yes. They're replacing, and here's the reason why they're becoming unpopular. The writers of the comic openly express distaste towards fans. Like, somebody will ask them, why does your comic not sell well? And they'll say, oh, because all our fans are racist and all of this and homophobes.
Really?
Yeah. So Bruce Banner dead, replaced with a Chinese guy. Captain America is actually a Nazi. He's been replaced with somebody called America. I can't remember the last name.
No way.
Right, but
hang on, sorry. Captain America has been replaced by another character because Captain America is a Nazi.
Yeah, he was a Hydra double agent the whole time, wasn't he?
No way.
Yeah. And here's the thing as well. So he was replaced by this. This is the weirdest thing. The writing of the new comics is so bad, right? But basically, he's been replaced by this woman, and she's called America. I don't remember her last name. She's Latin American, first thing.
Right.
Second thing, this is where it's going to throw you. She's from an alternate dimension. Okay.
Right.
In this alternate dimension, two women can be biological parents, so she has two mums.
Oh, God.
This is where it gets weirder. Okay.
Talk about breaking down the barrier between male and female. Goodness me.
Yeah. This is where it gets weirder.
She's got a penis on her back.
No. But basically, let me just start by saying she's an open racist and she's an open sexist in that she hates white guys. And this has happened before. Like, you remember Storm? Remember Storm from the X-Men and Black Panther? They have now found, this is not a joke, they have now found an all-black superhero team. And then their whole purpose of a team is to keep white people out of Brooklyn. Right? That is not a joke.
Way.
Yeah, seriously.
Storm
it was cancelled.
And Black Panther are doing this.
Yeah. Right? But here's where America Ferrera gets a bit ridiculous. This was pointed out by somebody, and this is just stupid. This is just bad writing. This was pointed out by somebody, a YouTube channel. But basically, she refers to her mums, right, as mums. So, like, she, goes, mums, come over here. Mums, do this. And this guy was saying on this YouTube channel, this really made me laugh. He went, when your kid wakes up in the morning, he doesn't refer to you and your wife as a singular noun. Like, he doesn't wake up and go, parents. Do you know what I mean? They're desperately trying to normalize this, and it just doesn't come across as normal.
shoving it down your throat.
Yeah. And obviously the fans are upset because all the characters that they care about, Hawkeye's been replaced by his daughter.
It's like the sacrifice in the comedy thing, isn't it? You're sacrificing what it really should be, what the purpose of it really should be, by pushing an agenda.
Yeah, the characters that everyone loves for like multiculturalism.
And Marvel goes through this cycle. It is something it's not foreign to Marvel. That's why we've got Amazing Spider-Man, why we've got Ultimate Spider-Man, and why we've got the Fantastic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They'll do a series until they ruin it by basically trying to fix something that ain't broken. They'll go completely balmy with something.
Here's the thing, though.
Coming on and going back in time and resetting everything back to the better way it was.
They'll kill a superhero and then regret it because they then want the superhero back because all the people that like the superhero have stopped reading the comics. Like as much as I liked the Civil War comics, they killed Thor in it, and I'm thinking,
oh yeah.
Well, that's as soon as you kill off one of the superheroes, it sort of spells the beginning of the end of that series, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's not like Thor as well has been replaced by a woman. And then obviously the thing so if you look at DC, right? So Marvel's sales average 20,000, which is incredibly poor. DC's sales average in the hundreds of thousands per comic book. And DC is doing this diversity thing too, but the difference is when DC does it, they write incredibly deep characters who have real flaws, and they write incredibly compelling stories and things like that. So nobody cares.
And what? So they're adding characters on rather than replacing them? Or
that's the other thing. So Marvel will say, well, you're going to have it like that, and that's the way it is. We're killing this guy, and now this guy's in, so enjoy it. DC will add somebody new, and that's kind of the difference. They celebrate the older characters while trying to introduce new ones. Which is
it's almost like they think that there's some sort of past that they've got to erase. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we've got to sort of make up for our sort of unenlightened ways of the past, where all that, I don't know, it's mental.
Have they replaced Black Widow with a male? Because if they haven't, then it's just sexist, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It's like next they're going to have it where one of the female characters just suddenly puts on loads of weight,
Yeah. And still like does backflips and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be sizist.
Yeah.
And obviously, people, real big people can do all of these acrobatics just the same as everyone else, just to keep it equal.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that guy, that like Southern American ninja who's always on Facebook would have something to say. Like,
oh yeah,
you've seen the state of him. He's doing backflips and he's back on and everything.
I'm sure he'd be better at it though. Do you know what I mean? If he was, if he was a bit skinnier, yeah. Well, I don't know. Would you say he's unfit?
Well, I mean, no, he's got to be canny fit. He's got to be canny fit to be.
I think that guy solely on his own has blurred the line of what fitness truly is.
Well, yeah.
Well, he's an exception to the rule, isn't he? He's not the rule.
He's a monster, is what he is.
That's true. What have I created?
He's like that Bob guy in Tekken.
Bob,
which Tekken was this?
One of the later Tekkens. There's this guy in it that gets introduced. He's just round. He's just straight up round. But he's like one of the best characters.
Yeah. Not just this though. So this is another reason why Marvel are nominated for Duck the Week. So they've also just announced they're going to be increasing the prices of all of their comic books.
Oh, that sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah, no. Simultaneously, DC have announced they're going to be lowering the price of all their comic books.
Yeah, that's going to work out. That's running them straight into the ground.
Well, I mean, you think that, but at the end of the day, a comic's really the forefront of their priorities right now.
That's true.
And the whole film game, DC's losing on that, so it makes sense that they would plough a lot of effort into the comic books. So,
unless like I've heard that the new Spider-Man film has a lot of kind of social justice warrior themes, but it's still a good film, so you don't care. You know what I mean? Like which I kind of respect. But I heard a theory from an industry insider who said he thinks Marvel are trying to run themselves into the ground on purpose. Because obviously they got the golden ticket. They've been bought by DC now. And DC
Sorry,
basically,
Marvel has.
yeah.
Oh right.
Not DC, sorry. Disney.
Disney. I was going to say that.
Oh, right.
Bought by DC.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? Yeah,
The
DC bought
crossovers.
Marvel, and now we're making them do all these terrible things.
Yeah.
The crossovers would be fantastic, to be fair.
Yeah.
It would be unreal.
But he has a theory that
I think it would be a mess personally, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so like it just doesn't. It's not smart. What they've done is just not smart by any stretch of the imagination. So they're trying to get rid of the comics element of the business, and it is an embarrassment now. Like if you look at Marvel films, how massively overly successful they are, and then how the comics are absolutely trailing. The amount of comics that they've cancelled after the second issue is
It's
insane.
a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
It's funny.
So anyway,
they didn't have the guts to make the new Spider-Man a black guy.
yeah,
Like he is in the
That's
he
true.
has been in the comics for quite a while now. He was like the first
Well,
person to go, right?
yeah. If you actually look at his school that he goes to in the film, he's the only white guy at his school. And Mary Jane is black, and his girlfriend in it is black, who's not Mary Jane, and his best friend's Chinese. And they did change. Here's what's odd about that, Jake. So, Spider-Man is obviously one version of Spider-Man is Miles Morales, who's I think he's half Puerto Rican, half black.
Alright.
And then also you've always had what's his name? What's like his bully in school called?
Flash.
Flash, yeah. So in the film, Flash, and I'm not joking, is a small Asian guy.
No
He's not Asian, Indian, a small Indian guy.
No
And that's
way.
very odd because he's never been that in the comic. And they just
Well,
didn't have.
that's just brand new.
I know,
It's like
very
they're
weird.
trying to include someone from every single like ethnicity on the globe. It's like
Yeah.
some Swahili man's going to rock up and be like, "Well, I feel discriminated against because there's no Swahili student in the school."
Yeah.
Well, it never ends, does it?
Wait till the Samoans come along. And then you
Yeah.
just
Well,
got
they-
one
what-
guy who's like just doesn't belong as to be like an absolutely enormous Samoan.
Yeah. What they should do is do like a census. So you, granted, choose what ethnicity you want the main character to be, and then get an actual school kid of that age, of that ethnicity, and then look at what his friends are like,
Yeah.
and try and get that sort of grouping of ethnicities there. Maybe
Yeah, like,
chuck
what's
a
wrong
couple
with
of
just
exotic
being
ones in there.
realistic?
Yeah, authentic. Yeah, it's almost like it's more racist in a way to go out of your way to just put loads of
To get
It's
not
like-
white people.
yeah. Again, it's a classic theme of sacrificing the truth to make people happy.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's not truly like that, why depict it that way in a film? Just to make people happy.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things. First thing, I would honestly say that my mind is definitely must have been altered now on some level because when I see so if they announce a new TV show tomorrow and all of the characters were white, I would think that was weird. Do you know what I mean? So my mind must have been altered in some way, even though even if you look let's say there's a TV show about a family who live in somewhere like I don't know, like Harrington North, it's absolutely likely that almost everybody in that village would be white. But in the TV show,
There'll
would
be
just feel
3
weird.
Chinese guys, like
Yeah,
a black guy. There'll be a gay couple. There'll be, yeah,
well,
Gay couple's getting very mandatory now, I think, isn't it?
yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah.
it is.
It's like before it was the token black guy. Now you've got the
Yeah.
token gay couple, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the thing that kind of I was thinking about this. It's a never-ending cycle. Like you can make some words offensive. So look at disabled people.
Mm.
And obviously, the terms we would use for disabled people would be things like invalids and retards, and that would be the medical term. And then what happened is we said those are offensive, and now they're differently abled
Mm.
and things like that. But eventually, that'll be deemed offensive, and it's a never-ending cycle. If you keep saying some words are offensive, it's never going to end.
Have
And
you
I
ever
think
watched?
it's just-
Have you ever watched these little? Sorry for interrupting. Have
No,
you
it's
ever watched these Little Women programs, like Little Women of LA and stuff like that?
No.
Well, so they. One thing that I noticed really early on is that they refer to normal people as average sized. They'll never call them normal people, like normal sized people.
Well, it's the same with transgender, innit? And then normal people are called cisgendered.
Yeah.
They have to redefine the term just to make themselves not feel different.
But
Which is
yeah,
really weird.
it's like
It's not
it's
normal.
really strange. Like if I was a little person, I'd like to. I mean, obviously, it might be different if if I was in that situation. But I'd like to think that I could, just be like, okay, well, the truth is the truth. I'm not normal sized. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and redefine the terminology, that I use.
I mean, for me, it doesn't even. I mean, it doesn't even make a difference. Like, I mean, obviously, there's always a line. Like, you wouldn't even this day and age, you wouldn't want to be called a retard. You know what I mean? If you were disabled, like, you would think that was inappropriate, for example. Which, in the sense, is but at the same time, it's like.
But the only reason you see it that way, I'll just make the point, is that we've been taught to consider it as a bad or derogatory term. So back when it was a medical term, I don't see why it would have been an issue.
I agree on that. I think that's just it's like Paul in the Bible talks about how don't let filthy language come out of your mouths, and obviously that is in two ways. Don't use swearing words, and also don't talk about topics that are morally wrong and against God. Like don't talk about I love to bang her or whatever. And I think that is a standard that every Christian should hold to, and you should be respectful. But if you're using a term to single out somebody who's different, if the thing that offends them is that they've been singled out as different, then no term is ever going to work, no matter what it is.
We are getting massively off topic, and I want to make sure that we're finished date of the week, so that I can cut it out nice and cleanly.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Don't worry about it.
All right, guys. All right, so your options are Marvel Comics for screwing over their readers, Eric Schneider and the Jewish Spider-Man for attempting to prosecute pro-life group for being pro-life, and Sarah Silverman, who did an incredibly distasteful and unfunny promo deliberately mocking Christian values.
Schneider, dude, I think Spider-Man, man.
You're voting Schneider?
I'm thinking Jewish Spider-Man as well, partly because of the name.
Silverman at a close second.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge diff, to be honest. Prosecuting pro-life as for being pro-life, it doesn't really make sense.
I mean, I was thinking as well, like, if you're an American comedian, right, and you've got a show that's probably going to be targeted mostly to people in America, and, like, America is full of people that identify as being Christians, is that really a smart move? I don't know.
Well, have you ever seen a move like that work? Have you ever seen that pulled off before?
Well, I mean, again, the only thing I just keep thinking of Sausage Party. I don't remember that making a huge amount of money.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think of films that or a TV show that had done something like that, where the subject matter was literally to do that, and then it's really worked out in their favor. I can't think of an example.
It's film and music and TV series and all of these things. They should be about storytelling, and as soon as you take the primary focus away from storytelling, you're sort of ruining it. And I think it's not what people came for. When you go and see that in the cinema, it's not what people came for. So you're missing the target, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations to Eric Schneiderman. You, sir, have won the official Derp of the Week cone that you will wear on your head at all times. Congratulations, buddy.
Well done.
We knew you had it.
Get over his name, Schneiderman. That's so good. The Jewish Spider-Man.
Congratulations, my man.
You know what I think? I'm just deeply offended by his name. I think he rather than trying to get people prosecuted for being pro-life, he needs to be prosecuted himself for not having changed his name to Schneider Woman.
Oh, I think you've got a point there, man. It is offensive.
Mm-hmm.
No, I won't. I was gonna say I'd tweet him, Schneider man, how sexist. You know what, I will.
All right,
Where are you, buddy?
I don't know. Like we've already ruined his day.
Yeah, well, he's going to be
We've
ruined for the rest of the
we've
month,
ruined
mate.
this
I don't
guy's
think
life.
you don't need to set the rest of the liberal left on him, like, as well.
Can you imagine? Eric Schneiderman steps down from office. After-
Resigns. Refuses to apologise for not changing his name.
Man, that'd be mint.
Gosh. Like, that reminds us of, have you seen some of the 4chan things that people do on, like, feminism? They're like, they'll go out and be like, we need to sue. We need to, one of the things that they did was, manspreading. You know how they invented manspreading?
Yeah.
They went on to Tumblr and were like, why is manspreading only for men? Why don't women get to, like, why don't we get women spreading? And it was like, that's a good point. We should definitely start woman spreading as well. It was like,
Yeah.
get it. Ni men have ever decided that they wanted the term man spreading to exist. So now we've got woman spreading as well.
Do you know what? I seriously think manspreading is a form of discrimination because the reason why we manspread is purely for the fact that we have testicles between our legs. And, like, you can do this experiment, although it might be a little weird. I do this to my wife. Put your fist directly between her legs and then tell her to sit normally, and she can't do it. She can't do it. She says it's too painful. And then I say, no, you will do it! No, I don't.
It's true, to be fair,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So the big hilarious objection I heard to that was, you don't see me with my arms outstretched because I've got boobs on my chest. It's like, they're not in between your arms.
Oh my god.
I think you need to take an anatomy class.
Yeah, I think you've got boobs in your armpits, do you?
Exactly.
I saw a video where this guy went on a train and he basically gave women like underpants that had like it was like prickly stuff in them, just like a prickly ball, so that when they sat down it would kind of cause them pain. And he asked them, do you think manspreading is wrong? And one woman was actually wearing a t-shirt saying don't manspread, and afterwards she was like, yeah, we shouldn't be picking on guys for something they can't control like that, which is interesting. And he was talking to this one guy, and I shouldn't laugh at this, it's really rude. He was talking to this one guy and he was like, so you think men shouldn't manspread? And this guy was like, no, I think we should be more respectful and we should close our legs. And then he was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And then he was like, what about your balls? And then he was like, no, we should be respectful. I closed them. And then this guy was like, I think you need bigger balls, Dad. Which I think it's got to be partly true to that guy.
Is it Steven Crowder?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I
He's
saw
funny.
that.
There's another element of it as well about trying to demasculize our culture. Like,
Yeah.
so they really want us all to sit around like women. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine if how sort of demasculize like, I can't even pronounce the word, but it would just look so feminine if all men suddenly it would almost, I don't know.
Hashtag not all men have tiny nuts.
We'd lose a piece of sort of manliness in our culture, I think, just from that one thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's something going on. Adam?
Hello?
There's an echo coming from your mic.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I know what that is. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Oh man, it'd be awful to sit like that. I'm a pretty severe man spreader, I must admit.
You're a man.
I pretty much do the splits when I sit down, me.
Oh dear.
Well, you're incredibly inconsiderate, mate.
I know.
You're a sexist.
Shame on me for having my anatomy. It's almost like it is literally just having a go at someone for their body. They've almost done the exact thing that they're accusing everyone else of doing.
It's morally wrong.
What on earth is going on there? Hello? You alright?
Yeah, sorry. This is just. Tell you
It's
what,
like,
would you guys
do you
give
know
me a
what?
second? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You know, pause.
I'm just thinking, next time a woman walks past me, I'm just going to be like, "Excuse me, how inconsiderate! Your chest is getting in my way."
Yeah.
And I'll just wonder what she says. Just
I suppose one solution would be to just reach in, reach in, rive the old scrotal sack up, and just rest it on your waistband. Make sure that they're not in the way. Then you can put your legs as tight as you like. I imagine that'll get a
even
few
then,
complaints.
it's not. I mean, it's not
Hello.
exactly comfortable. It's not like my natural way of sitting.
Yeah, it's not. Well, you won't believe what just happened to me. As we were talking, a woman with blue hair jumped in through the window, right?
Oh yeah.
Attempted to get me to close my legs as I was manspreading, and I had to fight her off. Absolutely ridiculous. No, I fid.
It was the blue hair part that threw me off. Like, I don't believe that anyone in this day and age could ever have blue hair. That's ridiculous.
I'm inclined to agree.
Well, I just think that that's an oppressive thing to say. If a woman wants blue hair, she should be allowed to have it.
Ah, right, you are, Squire.
Well, women and men are different. Sorry, guy. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Women and men are different. They're
That's
not
ridiculous.
the same. What do you guys think? What do you think, gang? Are women and men the same or different?
Guess.
I think your answer is women and men are exactly the same, and that physical differences in men and women are a myth, a patriarchal myth.
Unfortunately not, mate.
Ah, dang it, man.
Oh my goodness, what is that gif? That's terrifying.
Basically, what I want to get out of this is that feminism has wrecked a lot of aspects of society right now that we do need to work hard to rebuild. The role of men and women in society, like you guys said, men are being feminized. They're being demasculinized in society. I think that's true in the school system.
Yeah.
Boyish behavior is punished, and girlish behavior is celebrated. I think it's true in TV and films. Like, think of when was the last film you saw, new film, where the women weren't all total badasses and the guys weren't just total losers. Like, not losers, like they may have been the hero, but they were total bumbling idiots.
There's always that scene where the woman just like is just absolutely shows all the lads up and then just like walks off smugly sort of thing, and they all look at each other like feeling really sort of I don't know, just really impotent.
There was one, I was playing a game. Have you heard of Tales of the Borderlands?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I was playing that, right? And there's a scene in that.
Oh yeah, I have actually. Yeah.
I spent a good 5 minutes afterwards thinking about this scene, right? So basically, all the women in that are obviously incredibly dominant characters. All the women are basically men, and all the guys are basically bumbling idiots. But the story's incredible, so it was worth it. But there was a scene where this guy and a girl are holding onto this platform that's falling, right? The girl falls first, okay? And then she's like, it turns out the platform's not that far, so then she's okay. The guy then falls, and then this woman who is like 2/3 of his size, right, somehow catches him and is stood there with him for about 30 seconds. You know, in like the classic romantic thing of a guy catches girl, and then it's like, but it was reversed. And I was sat there like, there is no way she would be able to hold him.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if she can hold his weight up. She weighs less than him.
Yeah.
So she would go over. It's like physics.
Yeah, it's
political correctness
insane.
has broken the laws of physics.
Man.
It's like in the army when there was that campaign to try and get. They said that the current training regime for the army is too tough on women because women are physically weaker than men, so they should lower the bar to not out.
That's so dumb.
It's like me applying to be a doctor and saying, well, all your testing is not tailored up for stupid people.
I'm not smart enough to do this, so the test should be easier for me.
People need to. It's the whole thing as well. It's like, and it's the same for, you know, what I mentioned about little people referring to normal sized people as like average size sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's people are trying to fix an issue of the heart. Well, is people are trying to fix an issue that essentially like it originates from the heart, by changing sort of their environment instead.
Yeah.
And it's a very common thing. It's like when in Islam, when women have to wear burqas, it's like men can't deal with having women around them where you can see the shape of their body. It's a problem of the heart that needs to be changed, but instead they make women lock themselves away, to as a way of dealing with the man's iniquities. A dwarf calling like me an average sized person rather than a normal sized person. It's because they need to come to terms with the fact that they aren't normal sized, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But rather than do that, because that's the harder option, even though it's the right option, rather than do that, they would try and change the way people perceive the world.
And
So
I
it's
think they're
like,
succeeding in a lot of
yeah,
ways.
it's like it's okay, all of these things being wrong, as long as people perceive them to be right.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that this new cultural shift it's winning the battle, but it can't win the war because we know God wins the war, but it's definitely winning the battle right now.
Mm.
It's totally infected school systems, especially in the UK as well.
Yeah.
It's absolutely backward. And the thing is that nobody ever stood up against it. The church was always too scared to do anything
It's a
about it.
shame.
Yeah, if the church had stepped up earlier, we'd have less of a problem now, I think.
It's a shame. And it's slowly but surely creeping into our law as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. That sucks. Like the gay cake thing. Absolutely stupid.
Mm.
Absolutely stupid. And that's been decided now. Nobody can do about it. It was wrong for them to say, "I'm sorry, I'm a Christian. I can't make a cake that says support gay marriage or whatever it is." It's wrong for them to do that as a business, in the eyes of the government, anyway.
Canada recently passed that law that was like where you can be prosecuted now, can't you? If you
you're an
don't use
Islamophobe.
someone's pronouns.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my days, that's ridiculous. I know New York did. Did you say Canada did?
Canada did, yeah.
My gosh.
All of Canada. I mean, I think I heard someone mention that it had passed. I'm still not quite sure, but I don't know if you've seen Jordan Peterson before, but he was there like he was before like a big panel of like politicians talking about how ridiculous it was to have compelled speech. Like, it's one thing to have like prohibited speech, but it's another thing to have compelled speech.
Canada needs a massive call to repentance, I think, on some of these issues. Same with every country, don't get me wrong. Canada's just gone further.
It's a big derp.
Canada's a big derp.
It's
100%.
Yeah, derpiter.
And I'm looking at it now. Canada has passed a law criminalising the use of wrong gender pronouns.
That's mental. I mean, there's the thing about uni campuses as well. Well, different unis marking you down on your use of pronouns and stuff.
Oh
isn't
my
there
gosh,
as well?
that was ridiculous.
If you use gender-specific pronouns and stuff, they'll mark you down.
Yeah. Well, I thought because my dissertation was quite controversial at the start, I was wondering if I was going to get subject to that sort of thing. But no, I ended up getting a first in it, so I'm pretty happy with that. But like the thing about this Canada thing that makes it a particularly big dirt is the fact that depending on what your opinion is, and in my opinion, it's that you're basically going to be prosecuted for not aiding a mental disability. You're going to be prosecuted for not aiming for not aiding somebody in gender dysphoria. You're going to be prosecuted.
Yeah,
that is insane. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't pretend if you meet a schizophrenic person and you don't tell them that they should listen to every voice in their head, you could be arrested. That's absolutely ridiculous. You'd never do that in a million years. But we live in a post-truth era.
All right, we're gonna wrap up.
Let's do it.
All right, thank everybody who listened. Thank you, everybody who will listen in the future from now. I want to thank God and my parents. And I just want to invite everybody to come listen next week. Come listen next time. Similar time, similar place. And next week, I believe it's Ollie who is leading us. Is that right?
It can
Very
be.
exciting.
Can be.
And we shall see you on the grapevine. This is the Alternative Review, your new favorite place for news and stuff that isn't news.